Okay, good morning, everyone. This is Doug Nesbitt. I'm the Director of Affordable Finance and Fair Lending for CMG Home Loans, and you are tuned into the HomeFundIt 35-minute session. Actually, it might be 35, might be 40, might be 30, who knows, depending on how long I'm talking here today. Welcome to the call. We've got a lot of folks signed up here. In fact, a lot of folks jumped on at the last minute based on the email from this morning, so thank you guys for being here. We've got a great presentation lined up for today. I'm going to go through a few administrative details while we get everybody on board, and then we'll be off and running here. First off, the presentation runs about, like I said, 35 minutes or so. It's in three parts. Well, the first part, we're going to talk about HomeFundIt, the program itself, really from a consumer angle, kind of what your buyer is going to see. The second part, we're going to talk about HomeFundIt from the real estate agent angle through the Realtor portal, which is the very best place to start somebody on a HomeFundIt campaign. It's going to co-brand HomeFundIt in with the realtor and the loan officer's contact information, everything. So it's a great marketing tool for our referral partners. So if you're a loan officer, you're definitely going to want to watch for this. And then if you're a real estate agent, you're going to want one of these. And then we're going to do a short session on the affinity opportunity, which is where folks go out and work with companies who are wanting to help their people become homeowners. Then we'll do a quick wrap up and Q&A. You can ask questions anytime. Be sure to find the Q&A panel on your control panel there, and you can type in a question there, or you can type it in the chat panel. I've got them both open here. I'll try to keep an eye on that as I go through and answer the question on the fly, but if I hold your question to the end, don't feel bad. We're going to stick around and cover off all the questions that you have and stick around as long as you need to get all your questions answered. So please, please, please ask questions. Very important. This is being recorded. Typically, I put it up on the shared record site early in the following week. So for those of you who either need to step off early or some folks who missed it today, they can watch that. So I usually try to record these every once in a while. And today's is, so hopefully my voice will hold out. Okay, let's get the show on the road. You should be seeing a green screen here with a yellow house on it. If you're not seeing that, please let me know. But let's get things rolling here. A little bit about the company for those of you who are not familiar with CMG. We often have a lot of guests on the call, so I usually go over who we are. Company's 30 years old, founded by Chris George, our president and CEO, in his garage in Pleasanton, actually. And the company has grown steadily since then. Chris was the chairman of the MBA in 2018, I believe it was. So we're now one of the nation's largest privately held single owner mortgage banks, top 15 lender, and I think we've got about actually 1,200 loan officers, 12 or 1,300 coast to coast. Full range of lending products that you might expect from a top lender. We were named best lender for first-time home buyers, very pertinent to what we're going to be talking about today with HomeFundIt. And we also have a program that nobody else has, the all-in-one loan. I call it the most powerful loan on the planet. I've been around that program since day one. It's the loan I have on my house. If you're not familiar with the all-in-one, talk to Dave Herbst, get familiar with it. It'll change the way you think about mortgages and money forever. I guarantee that. And then HomeFundIt, which is a game-changing program. Obviously, we're here to learn more about that today. So let's get into it. HomeFundIt. What does it do? Two things. One of them's for you, one of them's for your buyer. For your buyer, it can help them solve that number one problem that they have, which is the down payment. Yeah, I know mortgage rates are really high, a little better right now, but they've been really high. But the truth is, for most people today, the bigger hurdle, the bigger, more insurmountable hurdle, because rates do come down, you can always refi later. The big insurmountable hurdle for a lot of home buyers that want to be home buyers sooner than later is the down payment. And we'll talk a lot about that. The second thing that HomeFundIt does is that it helps you hold on to folks who aren't ready. Kind of for all these reasons, there's a lot of folks on the sidelines today, and they want to be homeowners. So how do you make them your customer other than just saying, hey, call me when you're ready to buy a house? Well, today you have the opportunity to make them your customer, put them in your pipeline in the moment. We're going to talk a lot about how effective HomeFundIt is at helping you do just that. So let's talk about first-time homebuyers, because that's really the domain of HomeFundIt. We live in that space pretty much all the time, with a few exceptions. They're dealing with big issues that we all know and have heard a lot about on front page articles: high home prices, rising rents, student debt being a big factor in this real estate cycle that we haven't seen in past cycles. And when you talk to renters, 70% of them will tell you that the down payment is the #1 hurdle. So kind of zeroing in on these buyers, you know, there's a big difference between a prospective buyer and a current buyer. The folks that are hoping to buy homes today largely are millennials. The average age of millennials is 32, 33. The average age of a first-time home buyer is, guess what, 32, 33. So that's who's buying homes today. The middle part of the millennial wave is passing through the average age of buying a home. And when you look at people who are wishing and hoping and dreaming about buying a home, most of them today are first-time buyers. But when you look at who's getting to buy a home today, who's in the market actually shopping for a home, that number drops down quite a bit. And it's really driven by the fact that it takes people on average 3 to 4 years, sometimes more, to save up enough money for that down payment. Now today, when they get a little bit of help to speed up that process, it's through down payment gifting. And that's really kind of what we're going to be talking about a lot today. Down payment gifting today doesn't work very well. It's one-dimensional and it's kind of weak in how it's applied. Typically, when we see help coming in, it's really just bank of mom and dad, about 25, 35% of cases, even though under Fannie, Freddie, FHA guidelines, other relatives can help. But the reason they don't help is because of all the friction in the system. People have to go down and chase down paper checks. There's gift letters they've got to do. They've got to do those right. There's crazy sourcing rules about who can give and who can't give. It's all pretty darn inconvenient. And when you think about when this process occurs, it's very late. It's when they're sitting down across the table from a loan officer, filling out a loan application on a home. They started shopping for a home. And the loan officer asks the very obvious question, where are you coming up with the down payment? And they say, we've been saving 3 to 4 years on average. And we're getting a little bit of help from mom and dad in a few percentage of cases, right? Even though, again, as under all these guidelines, anybody else can help. The problem is they don't have time to go back out, talk to the grandparents, talk to the aunts and uncles and siblings and so forth about getting a check from them, filling out a gift letter. It's just an inconvenient hassle. So it generally doesn't happen. And we said, hey, let's fix this. Let's move this whole process online where people can give online with a debit card or credit card, no offline paperwork. And that makes it easier for all those people to be able to help. Grandparents and aunts and uncles and everybody like that, right? They can step in with a debit card or credit card and just help with that down payment. Click, 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 and you're done. Anyone can give with HomeFundIt. We've expanded that to where friends, teammates, coworkers, wedding guests, any kind of non-relative can give on HomeFundIt. It's the only platform that allows that. Up to $5,000 per donor, no max on the campaign. You can just raise as much as you want. There's no commissions or hidden costs. We cover all of the transaction costs, and 100% of what people donate goes through to the purchase. And the very best part of it is there's no time limits. And we're going to talk a lot about how important that is as we go through this presentation today. They can set up HomeFundIt as early as they want and run it as long as they want. It works with any loan program except for HFA bond and DPA type programs. So this means it works with all your conventional Home Possible 3% down, Home Ready 3% down, Home One. It works with FHA, BA, USDA, Jumbo, non-QM. It works with Alt-A and Near Miss, and it works with our Native American loan programs as well. So pretty much any loan program except for HFA bond programs, DPA programs, will work alongside with HomeFundIt. We boil this down into an elevator pitch, which you should remember. It's called online down payment gifting from anyone. The two most important things, we've moved the process online and we've made it where anyone can give. These are game changers for your buyer when they understand the difference between how down payment gifting used to be and how it is with HomeFundIt. That power goes to the buyer and they can do a lot of amazing things when they understand that. Sets up very, very easily. They just go through a few simple setup screens and presto, they've got a page on the web where their family and friends and loved ones can help them with that down payment. These pages, as you can see here, look like everything. They look like family, friends, dogs, cats, fish, graduations, weddings, you name it. So this is where someone comes in and helps with that down payment. A couple quick questions came in. Why not bond programs? Why doesn't it work with DPA programs? Well, you have to think about the way we sell those on the secondary market. We direct those through those state agencies, and we take a really good size haircut on those loans when we sell those. We don't sell them direct to Fannie, Freddie, FHA. They go back to those state agencies. As you'll see here in a little bit, we're giving away $2,000 on each of these deals on top of that. So we end up making no money on those. So we can't right now do those with HFA bond programs. So as you've seen in the previous screen, you can modify the picture, the title of the campaign. They have a nice little default story, which generally works for most people, although they can modify that and edit it however they want. They can upload videos. The loan officer, real estate agent are both featured right on the campaign page, so you get plenty of publicity there. There's a place in the upper right-hand corner where people donate. There is a second way to add funds to a campaign. It's called Up It. I'm going to talk about that in a second. And in the bottom right, you can see where all the gifts are coming in. And this section obviously goes down the screen as more and more gifts come in. We match those gifts. Here's the 2,000 part. We match those gifts coming in 2 to 1 up to the lesser of 2,000 or 1% of purchase price. We apply that as a lender credit at closing. Since most homes are above 200,000, you're hitting that $2,000 number first. So that's the 2 to 1 match on regular gifts coming in. There's only 2 requirements. One is you have to be a first-time buyer, and we use the 3-year Fannie Mae rule. Only one person has to be a first-time buyer. And then 2, you have to do home buyer ed prior to signing a purchase contract. Prior to signing a purchase contract. And I'm going to say that a few times because it trips people up. We're used to having home buyer ed before closing, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. You're making the biggest purchase of your life. You probably ought to know how to do it right. Home buyer ed before contract, that's the deal we have with Fannie and Freddie on this program. And we offer a free 1-hour phone-based Monday through Friday Eastern Time program through GreenPath that they can get to right from their campaign dashboard. Or if they really want to do one online, they can choose from any HUD-approved online course. There's lots of them. They do take longer, 3 to 4 hours typically online, and some of them do charge money, $75 to $100 on some. Some are free. So you can go either way, but we offer you a really easy phone-based approach as well. But again, you have to do it before you get into a contract, and that is a no exceptions rule for HomeFundIt. So that's the HomeFundIt lender credit match, applies to closing costs. We stack a lot of these, and we have the exclusive ability to stack these with Borrow Smart from Freddie Mac. That's Borrow Smart is the Freddie Mac program for buyers who make less than 100% of the area median income. It's basically free money for buyers that make less than 100%. So they can get up to $1,500 towards either the down payment or closing costs stacked on top of HomeFundIt. It does require its own home buyer ed from Home Preservation Foundation. That's $99. And it works with Home Possible, the 3% down payment program from Freddie Mac. So it's a great way to stack some additional dollars on top of HomeFundIt. Big overlap between the two programs. We see a lot of these go out together. Second way to add funds to a campaign, it's called Up It, and you do that simply by shopping. Click in through the campaign page here, and it opens up a world of online retailers. Each one of them rebates a certain percentage back to the down payment as a pledge at closing. So you just shop like normal, same exact shopping experience and store experience that you'd get if you went directly. You're just going through the campaign page, and that links that shopping trip to the campaign. Anyone can shop with Up It. Now remember, you can't donate to a campaign if you're a loan officer or a real estate agent, but this is a great way to help somebody. You can simply shop using Up It if you're a loan officer or real estate agent. So family and friends, pretty much anybody can shop using this. All the stores you know and love are in here. I like to call out Home Depot. They're 8% back on a lot of items, it's a great way to go. Plus, we match those rebate pledges 2 to 1, just like we match the gifts coming in 2 to 1 towards that $2,000 lender credit. So in effect, it's a second way to get to that $2,000. So if you got 8% back buying some tools at Home Depot, you'd get effectively 16% matched towards that $2,000. So 8% would go to your down payment, and the 16% would go to your $2,000 lender credit. And just so that family and friends never miss an opportunity to help, we have developed a Chrome extension that you can get on the Chrome extension store. Add that to your browser, and then anytime you go directly to one of these stores You forgot to go through the campaign page, don't worry, it automatically pops up and it'll rebate that to that campaign of choice. So it's a great way to make sure family and friends never forget to help you. There's a third way to get to the $2,000 lender credit, and that's by sharing your campaign on social. A lot of folks like to put it out there on social. Not everybody, but a lot of people do. So if you share, you get $10 every time you share on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. If your friend comes over to your campaign page and hits the share button from their computer, it's going to generate another $10 as well. So a great way to kind of boost yourself towards that $2,000 as you get the word out. Now, once they set up their campaign, there is a to-do list that explains everything they need to do to have a successful campaign, including getting their home buyer ed done. If they haven't started a pre-qual yet, they can do that right from here and link that to their loan officer. So it's a great way to go. And if you're not into sharing on social, one of my favorite things on here is email family and friends. And you hit the go button here, and it gives you 3 sample emails that are really well written that you can use as a starting point to get the word out to family and friends. So pretty much everything you need to have a successful campaign is here. Loan officer contacts here, real estate agent contact is here, and we've got some nice little promotions to kind of get them going fast. Now, this is very important. There are 2 tracks on HomeFundIt. One is the Freddie Mac track, one is the non-Freddie Mac track. I'm going to do the non-Freddie Mac track here first. Remember, you can set up your campaign and do it as long as you want. You can shop with Up It even if you're not ready to start talking to your family and friends about raising some dollars for your down payment. You can start your fundraising anytime you want. Typically, that process runs 4 to 12 weeks from the time people start getting the word out to the time most of the funds are done coming in. So again, they can time that however works for them. Make sure you get your home buyer ed done before you get out there and start doing some serious house hunting. And because on all loans except for Freddie Mac investor eligible loans, and that's Freddie Mac's conventional Home Possible and Choice Renovation, you're going to need to season those funds. And how do you do that? You simply ACH the funds into your bank account for seasoning. How long is seasoning? 2 bank statements, right? And that is not 60 days. It can be longer than 60 days because remember, you got to think about how those bank statements are timed. So sometimes it's more than 60 days. Those funds sit there, they become buyer funds at that point. You're going to close, get your $2,000 lender credit. You're going to get your Up It rebate dollars applied at closing. So that's pretty much how the non-Freddie Mac ones work. Now you may be sitting there saying, uh-oh, what happens if I don't have time to season those funds for 2 full bank statements? What do I do? Well, you can't use unseasoned funds in the transaction, but what you can do is you can leave them in your campaign until after closing and simply ACH those funds to yourself after closing. Use them for paint, carpet repairs, upgrades, etc. All those many expenses that you have after closing, right? You still qualify for your $2,000 lender credit at closing and your Up It funds at closing. You just can't use the funds in the transaction. Again, the best way to do it is start early so that you have time to season those funds. And more people are figuring this out. They just start these campaigns the minute they meet a buyer so that they have time to season those funds. And if they don't have time, they've got the option to leave them there until after closing. Now with Freddie Mac, no seasoning is required. No seasoning is required at all. So you can set up these campaigns, run them as long as you want, fundraise as long as you want. Make sure you get your home buyer ed done before you get serious about some house hunting. And then you're getting into contract closing, getting your $2,000, your Up It rebate dollars, and the gift funds on a Freddie Mac deal are wired at closing. So that's Freddie Mac's conventional, Freddie Mac's Home Possible, and their Choice Renovation program. So really the easiest way to go is via Freddie Mac. Otherwise, just season the funds. Program stats to date, we're actually up to about 1,850 campaigns now. Everything, you know, all different types of buyers, big buyers, small buyers, you know, strong ones, not so strong ones. It just ranges all over the place and all different types of loan programs. I would probably say that about 1/3 of the deals are Freddie Mac's Home Possible deal. About 1/3 of the deals are FHA, and then another 1/3 is kind of everything else, mainly driven with conventional. So that's kind of what we see on HomeFundIt. Top 10 campaigns, so there's been very large ones, all the way up into the high 40s. This list is actually a little out of date. We've seen some large ones come in recently as well. But what I'd say the sweet spot campaign is is 5 to 15,000, 5 to 15 donors. This is for a good-looking, well-shared campaign. This is probably a decent example of one. This is a couple in South Carolina. They had recently gotten married. They actually wish they'd found out about HomeFundIt before they got married, but they found out about it afterwards. And they went back to the same group of people that came to their wedding, and they said, hey, we found this thing called HomeFundIt. You guys know we were hoping to buy a house. We hope you'll join us on this journey. They actually only thought their parents would give, and they were blown away. 13 people stepped in. A lot of those people had already given them wedding gifts. They stepped in and said, no, we want to help. We want to be a part of this. And it was $11,000 in just a couple weekends, and they were in their house that much sooner, that much stronger. So that's an example of a sweet spot campaign, an example of the dynamics. You know, typically people don't expect many people to give, and they're always surprised at how many people step up when they share. So good-looking, well-shared campaign pretty much always hits this kind of range. And you know, it's kind of an example of what we call the HomeFundIt network effect. And this is the most important slide I'm going to show you today. You know, in a typical home purchase, a loan officer, real estate agent, buyer, and seller. Those are the main four characters on stage, if you will. But with HomeFundIt, and you probably see where I'm going here, you've got all those donors that are helping that buyer buy their house, their friends, their relatives who have stepped in and said, hey, we want to be a part of that transaction. They get to see the loan officer and real estate agent featured on the campaign page. They've got this cool thing called HomeFundIt that they're using to help their friend buy a house or their relative buy a house. And guess what they do after that? They all have their own networks. They all go out and have opportunities to talk to their family and friends and other people they know about how this cool thing called HomeFundIt they use to kind of help their friend buy a house. And so we see downstream referral business coming in from these campaigns with multiple donors on them. And that's one of the most powerful effects of the program, because it not only do you have people buying a house bigger, faster, stronger, you're getting all that referral network power that you wouldn't have on a normal home purchase, because you've got an exclusive program that helps somebody buy a home faster. How do you make these donor networks happen? You give your buyer time. You don't jam your buyer at the tail end and say, hey, I got this thing called HomeFundIt, and we've got like 1 week before we close, right? Do not do that, because you're losing the opportunity to build these donor networks. Set these campaigns up as early as you possibly can. Give your buyer time to comfortably work it into their life, right? When grandma comes to visit, when they're out with their friends, when they're at the backyard barbecue, they can whip out their phone and say, hey, we're trying this thing called HomeFundIt, kind of like that couple did that I was just telling you about. We'd love it if you join us on our home buying journey. And that's how these large donor networks get created, and those donor networks develop pipeline for you. So you should selfishly want your buyer to have lots of time to set up these larger donor networks, because that becomes referral business for you down the line. Again, most important concept we've learned about HomeFundIt in the last year, and it's no wonder that the HomeFundIt's average duration is growing from like 30 days when we first launched HomeFundIt a few years ago to now it's over 6 months is the average timeline for a campaign. And that's because loan officers and real estate agents are figuring it out. They're saying, hey, the more time I let my buyer run with this thing, the better it is for me down the road, right? So start these early. Most important concept I can share with you today. Another really exciting part of HomeFundIt is the wedding opportunity. There's a very obvious need out there today for houses, and young people getting married need a bigger down payment. So this is one of the easiest pitches in the universe. Let your wedding guests help you with your down payment, right? It's a very easy sell. They need the house. They don't need more stuff. And in a way, this sort of positions it like the anti-registry, right? This is not a wedding registry in the traditional sense. This is the alternative to a wedding registry. People are putting QR codes leading to their campaign pages in their save the date announcement, in their wedding announcement, saying, hey, we have all the stuff we need. What we really need is some help with the down payment. And the guests are really happy to help with the down payment instead of buy them another appliance that they don't really need. There's a huge opportunity to partner with service providers like wedding planners. So fantastic opportunity. And wedding expos are huge. We have another one this weekend in Nashville that we're doing that I know of. We just did a big one in Scottsdale. Typically, LOs are coming away from these wedding expos with huge numbers of leads. The one in Scottsdale, I think it was 96 warm first-time home buyer leads that want to do HomeFundIt as part of their wedding. So huge opportunities. We've got a lot of marketing materials, a lot of best practices learned about these wedding expos. So if you're interested in that, see me. There's some huge opportunities here. Next gen buyer. You know, the problem that we have today in the real estate business is that a lot of people are sitting in their homes, aging in place. They're stuck in a 3% fixed rate loan, so they're kind of reluctant to move. And you know, the goal is to move past those folks and to get into the next generation of home buyers and help them buy a home faster. But how do you do that? Typically today, it's call me when your kids are ready to buy a house, right? That kind of sort of works, but maybe not so well, right? But now you've got a tool where you can talk to your past customers, those with dependents who are looking at buying a home in the next few years, and say, hey, let's get your kids set up on a HomeFundIt campaign right now. And you're looking at someone who just did that. This young lady here was a junior at Clemson when her dad, who's actually a real estate agent, the guy in the purple shirt here, told her about HomeFundIt, and she said, let's just get that set up. She sets up her campaign, graduated, put a QR code in her graduation announcement and said, hey, one of my goals after graduating is to buy a house, and I'd love some help with that. If you're going to send me anything, I'd rather have help with the down payment. And by the way, every dollar is worth $3 because I get a match. And she was in a house by November. So huge opportunity to talk to and tap into your past customers who have dependents and spread the news about HomeFundIt. And we've got a fantastic tool for loan officers in Domo. It's called the Next Gen Target Report, and it shows all of your past deals and the dependents that were associated with that loan application. So all you have to do is reach out to those buyers and have a conversation about helping their kids get into a home. Fantastic opportunity. We've done the work of identifying the deals that you've done that you can talk to. Okay, part 2, real estate agent portal. This is the best place to start somebody on a HomeFundIt campaign. Agents can set these up very easily. Only takes a couple minutes. It's linked to your loan officer. It's got some fantastic marketing tools in it and some automated nurture marketing automatically built into the portal. As I was saying, it's got some great branding on it here. You can upload your branding. It's got your picture and contact information. It's got a big green button where your buyer starts their HomeFundIt campaign, and that's going to link that campaign to both the loan officer and the real estate agent. There's an ask a question panel so people can get right back in touch with you. That goes right back to your email. There's video that explains how the program works. There's an active and successful campaign tab on your portal. It shows all the campaigns that you have up and running. These are live and you can click right into them. If you're in one of the 40 states that allows for realtor fee negotiation, you can do a match, dollar for dollar, up to any amount that you want. Some great reasons for doing this match. And the #1 reason is because it incentivizes your buyer to do what? Go out and get more donors. Why is that good? More referral business for you. So I really, really recommend these matches. Plus, anytime somebody donates, you're getting a little bit of free publicity because you're popping in there right after the donation with your match. And again, it's a pledge at closing. It's handled at closing just the way you would help with closing costs today. And again, it has to be in one of the 40 states that allow you to do that. Marketing Center. Inside your portal, there's a nice little Marketing Center, which has downloadable social graphics that you can share on social, plus testimonial videos that explain how HomeFundIt has helped somebody come over that down payment hurdle. And the nice thing about these testimonial videos is that they include automatically your branding applied by the portal onto these videos. So when you share them, your branding goes out with that video player. And what's really cool about it, you just share it and people can get right back in touch with you through that contact form there. So when they see this video, they're going to go right back to you. There's 7 of these in there. Every single weekend, you should share one of these on a Friday and get them out there. It explains the solution to the #1 problem that buyers have, and that's that down payment. All different types of stories, as I was saying. You can see my branding on this sample one here. I'm just clicking the share button underneath it, and that pops up a share on Facebook if I'm logged in. All I got to do is put some call to action copy at the top of that video. I'll show you how to get that in a second. And then I'm clicking the post button, and it goes right on my social media timeline. Couldn't be easier to get my marketing done for the weekend. I just do that every Friday. And that's generating conversations because, again, it's presenting a story about how somebody got over the #1 hurdle that your buyers have out there, and that's that down payment hurdle. And as you guys know, if you have a Facebook page, you can boost that post and get it in front of all kinds of people who don't currently follow your page, but may be shopping for a home in the area. And I tell people $50 a week, and you'll be in front of hundreds, if not thousands of people who are home shopping. Excuse me. Inside your kit, there is a marketing, inside your portal, there's a marketing kit. It's called the Ultimate Do-It-Yourself Facebook Marketing Kit. And for each one of those videos, there is a page that corresponds to that video. And on that page, there is the copy that you need for the call to action copy that goes at the top of those posts. So find the corresponding page that corresponds to the video that you want to share, plagiarize the copy, steal it, stick it on top of that post, and hit the post button. And that's how easy it is to get your marketing done for the weekend using those testimonial videos. Easy to get one of these portals. Just go to realtor.homefundit.com. Make sure you put realtor first, realtor.homefundit.com. And then you're just going to put in some information about your company, pick a name for your site, upload your logo and your photo, write a little about me statement, or you can copy that in from your regular website. And then make sure you select your loan officer from the drop down. That's what puts you guys both on this page. And then again, if you're in one of the 40 states that allow it, you can do a dollar for dollar match up to any cap that you want. You can set it to be, most people set it around 500, but you can set it as high as you want. It's up to you how much you want to help with closing costs. And then once you get some campaigns up and running, we take care of the nurture marketing. They're going to get weekly email statements featuring the loan officer and the real estate agent and an update on their campaign. And then anytime something happens on the campaign, someone shares, shops, donates, they're going to get an activity triggered email that goes out that says, hey, something just happened on this campaign, help them some more. So those are really great for staying in touch with people, particularly on these long range campaigns. And again, you want to get one of these at realtor.homefundit.com. Couldn't be easier. Again, all you're going to need is your logo and your photo in about 3 minutes of time, and you'll be up and running, ready to get out there and talk to folks about getting started on a HomeFundIt campaign. And loan officers, another great way to track campaigns is in Domo. We've got something called the Loan Officer Realtor HomeFundIt Campaign Tracker, of course, and that shows you all the campaigns that are running, gives you an update on how much have been donated, shared, shopped, etc., the link to the campaign and everything. So everything you need to know is in Domo, as well as these weekly nurture reports that come out that everybody gets. Last section here is our corporate opportunity. A lot of folks come to us and they say, hey, I know an organization, company, or a union, or an association, or a church. They want to help people become homeowners, and they're willing to put some skin in the game. We've got a fantastic tool for those companies to put up that can become part of the benefits that they offer their people. And it links to a loan officer, a real estate agent. The company is required to do some kind of a match. They can decide how much. But basically, if they want to help their people become homeowners, this is where those people can start. You're looking at a few examples here. The top one is probably our biggest, best one right now. It's called the Hero Fund from Hammer Enterprises. Hammer is a giant franchisor of Wendy's, Panera, and Noodles and Company restaurants all throughout the Midwest and Northeast. They actually have 3 portals, different levels of support depending on which region of their organization, and 3 different levels of support, anywhere from $1,000 to $2,500 towards the down payment. They have about 60 campaigns running, and we're just about to finishing up a 4-part series of future homebuyer events with their employees, and that's next week is the last one. So we'll probably come back around and do another series of those early next year. But organizations use these tools to kind of help their people become home buyers, and you can be the one that spearheads that into those companies. So if you've got an opportunity, let me know and we can sit down with the organization and work with them to get one of these set up. It's not hard to do. You just need a company that's interested in the HomeFundIt concept as a way to help their people become homeowners and wants to help. That's the most important thing. The company match of some sort shows their commitment to helping their people become homeowners. And we even see builders set these up now. This bottom one here is actually a builder setting up the program to hang on to buyers who either aren't ready or the development may not be ready. So there's an opportunity to use that as well. So again, it could be a company, it could be an association, could be a union, a church, nonprofit, but basically anybody who wants to help their people become homeowners. Let's sit down and we'll talk. We've got a lot of great experience with that now. And now there's an interesting opportunity between the wedding opportunity and that affinity opportunity that we were just talking about is wedding service providers. They can set up these portals too. So if you're at a wedding expo, you're surrounded by photographers, planners, bridal shop owners, caterers, and various wedding locations. They can all set up a portal as well. They can offer our $2,000 match plus their match towards the purchase if the services are used, you know, from that bridal shop owner or that wedding planner. I think wedding planners are probably the best ones to do this because they really control the experience in a lot of cases. We were just meeting on that earlier this morning with a group. So there's an opportunity here to kind of intersect this affinity idea with the wedding expo idea, and definitely some traction there. So to kind of wrap up here, you know, today when your buyers in a traditional sense are getting ready to buy a house, they're going through this long process of life and getting ready, and then they reach out to a loan officer or a real estate agent and they say, hey, I think I'm ready to buy a house finally. But with HomeFundIt, we flip that on its head, right? We can start these relationships in the moment, anytime. Anytime you find out somebody is dreaming about buying a home, that's the perfect time to set up a HomeFundIt campaign. They can shop with Up It for a while if they're not ready to actually start talking to family and friends about gathering funds for a down payment, and run these campaigns as long as you want. In all cases, they're going to get done sooner. Why? Because they're getting help from outside, from family, friends, shopping, etc. So you're winning that buyer earlier, you're speeding up the process, and from a competitive standpoint, you're taking a deal off the table that your competitors can no longer have because they are in your pipeline. That's how you lock people up early. You set them up on a campaign as soon as you find out that they're dreaming of buying a home. Just was talking with a loan officer yesterday. Customer isn't going to be ready to buy for a year or so. They're starting a HomeFundIt campaign. It's perfect because they have plenty of time to work it into their life. And that's kind of how they do these. They set them up as soon as they possibly can and run them as long as they need to. And that's what we see here with campaigns like these. So the key takeaways here for you, if you're a realtor or a loan officer, your client is going to be ready to buy sooner. And for those folks who need more time, it allows you to secure that long-range buyer and put them on a productive platform that starts to move them towards a purchase, but they're your customer along the way. So you can start them much earlier and preempt your competition. For your clients, it's a game changer. You take the friction out of down payment gifting and you explain that to them, right? We've got online down payment gifting from anyone. That opens up all kinds of new possibilities, right? They want to buy a house pretty bad. They will think of some folks in their life, given enough time, where they're going to connect with those folks and say, hey, would you like to help me, right? And there's two ways people can help: donations, shopping, or both. So real estate agents, set up a realtor portal, super easy, realtor.homefundit.com, and then start working this into every first-time buyer discussion. Remember, there isn't a first-time buyer out there that couldn't use a larger down payment. So start these campaigns early. And look for new ways to identify prospective buyers. You know, we've had it pretty good in this industry the last few years, where the business has sort of shown up. People are fighting over homes. There's low rates. Well, today we have to work a little harder. We have to go from being sort of gatherers to hunters. Well, that means retraining yourself to be a hunter, identifying future buyers, networking through past clients to find the next generation of buyers, right? More time to get people going, starting them earlier helps in a bunch of ways, right? They're getting more donors, more funds, more referral business for you. So have to retrain yourself to kind of start looking for those future buyers, those pipeline buyers, and shouting about it. Little things like sharing those testimonial videos, updating the links in your signature block to point at your portal, etc. Little things like that can make a big, big difference. And that's HomeFundIt, the program itself, the realtor portal, and the corporate affinity opportunity. Hope you found that interesting. We do these pretty much every Friday. So if you know folks that have missed this, please recommend them to come to this training. I do dedicated trainings all week long for real estate office branches. Did several this week. So if you've got a group that wants to really dive in on this, ask a lot of questions, please get a hold of me and we'll get one of those scheduled as well. And if you just have general questions, you want to kind of go in depth on this, please reach out to me, dnesbitt@cmgfi.com. I'll open it up to questions right now. I don't see a lot of new ones. I got a few ones here. One was the DPA and bond program stuff. I think I got that one covered earlier. Another question came in on chat. Marianne asks, what happens to the money if they decide to use a bond program? So gift money basically is theirs, right? And that's the number one thing to remember with HomeFundIt. As the money comes in on HomeFundIt and they start collecting gift money, that is their money. And we can't control what or how or when they do anything with it because it was given to them. We're holding it for them, but it's theirs to use. So if they end up switching out of a regular program where they could earn the $2,000, they could basically exit HomeFundIt and drop out to a DPA/bond program. The gift money would be theirs. It would be a little messy because you know, you may need gift letters and those would not be available to you. So they'd have to redo everything basically, or they'd have to be buyer funds at that point. But they wouldn't end up with the $2,000 because we can't do that on a DPA bond program. Let's see. I've got a couple things that I want to share with you in chat. So I'm going to put a link to the quick start guide for loan officers and real estate agents. And these are really useful. I'm going to put these in chat. So if you want to go into the chat and grab these, there's two links in here to our cloud drive. One is for the loan officer quick start guide and the other is the realtor quick start guide. So LOs, you can share that one with your referral partners. So grab those, and they're good little help documents to kind of help you through these programs, reminders and tips on kind of what to do. FHA, do they need seasoned funds? Yeah, so FHA loans, we do, boy, about a third of the deals we see go through our FHA. They do need seasoned funds on those. So start these campaigns early. And typically it's 2 bank statements. Sometimes on FHA, depending on your EOS findings, talk to your underwriter, you only need 1 bank statement. So you can cut it a little closer sometimes depending on income with FHA, but generally it's 2 bank statements. So you want to start those early, get those funds seasoned, etc. And again, if you don't have time to season, all is not lost. They just basically leave the campaign funds in their campaign until after closing and ACH them after closing. So they basically aren't using them in the transaction. Another question, will there be a CMG match as well as the company match? Yeah, so on CMG, or on the corporate affinity opportunity, which I think you're referring to, Patty, the company is matching and CMG is matching. So it's a combo. You still get your $2,000 from us, and then you're getting whatever the company is kicking in, $1,000, $2,500, whatever. I have one company that's doing $11,000. And then any other funds. So you could also maybe qualify for Borrow Smart funds as well. So some big dollars there in a lot of cases. Are you able to pull a portion of the gift money out in case of emergency and still maintain the remaining money in the program to keep the program alive? Or do you have to pull it all out at once? And the answer is the latter. You have to pull it all out at once. We have a one-time ACH, and then that actually shuts off your ability to raise additional funds. We don't want it to be super confusing or complicated, so these are a one-time withdrawal. So make sure you plan accordingly. You shouldn't have, gift funds being emergency funds and so forth. Those should be gifted to you for the purchase of a house, really. Okay, LO Quick Start Guide, Realtor Quick Start Guide, be sure to grab those links in there. Another question in chat, and then I'll move over to the Q&A panel after this, is are we able to use this presentation and play with the agent? Yeah, absolutely. Shoot me an email on dnesbitt@cmgfi.com, and I will send you back a copy of a slightly shorter version for real estate agents. It leaves out a couple little things that you can gloss over. A little better for real estate agent meetings that are sometimes shorter. So shoot me an email if you need a copy of this. Another question, I missed where I can share a link with the buyer. Okay, so if you are a real estate agent, you definitely want to grab a realtor portal and set that up that's got the button that you want to share, that page you want to share with your buyer. So realtors, go to realtor.homefundit.com, realtor.homefundit.com. And loan officers, now you don't have portals. You have your My Sites, LO My Sites, and if you go in the product section, find HomeFundIt, and that'll take you to your HomeFundIt page, which is effectively the same as the Realtor portal. It's got a big button in the middle where your buyer starts a HomeFundIt campaign, and that's going to link that campaign to you. Now, of course, if it's coming from My Site, it's not going to link any realtors to it, so the customer has to link the realtor later, or you can ask us and we'll link a realtor later. They have to have a portal, of course. So LOs, you do have a place to start somebody with just LO only branding. Again, the best place is the realtor portals because they have both the LO branding and the realtor branding. Hope that makes sense. Okay, are we able to use this presentation and play with the agent? Yes, absolutely. Shoot me an email and I'll send you a copy that you can share with real estate agents. Okay. I don't think I got sort of the question earlier, but I don't think I got the #1 question yet that we get asked. So maybe it's slipping to #2, I don't know. The #1 question is, what happens if they don't buy a house? They collect all this money on the platform, and then what? Well, the answer to that question is it's their money. Again, back to the original #1 rule, it was gifted to the buyer, so it's theirs to do with. They have an ACH button. They can pull those funds at any point in time. Interestingly, though, and we've done hundreds and hundreds and like thousands of these now, they don't. When they start gathering funds on this platform, they're super committed on all kinds of levels, to the HomeFundIt process, to the loan officer, to the real estate agent, to their family and friends who they talk to about gifting money for their down payment. They're really committed. So we very rarely see voluntary exits, people just get up and leave. So it's actually a huge retention tool. Once people start raising funds, it's almost a lock that they're going to finish. Even if their offer is rejected or they get turned down on the loan, we see campaigns that they dust themselves off and they keep going, and they eventually will close. So if funds come in, it's very, very likely that campaign is going all the way once the funds start coming in. Now, occasionally people will hit a disaster, job loss, health issue, divorce, something like that happens, and they have to put home buying off to the side. In those cases, those buyers will often reach out to us directly and say, I'd like to, or through the loan officer, and they say, I'd like to reverse the gifts back to the donors, which we can do as well. And we do see that occasionally. We actually see that more than voluntary exits once funding starts to happen. So that's the way these campaigns tend to run. The other thing you should know about the platform is that it generates bigger down payment for your buyer. Think about it. You know, if you talk to family and friends, you say, send me a check for my down payment, you might get some money, but you're going to have a lot of people that say, I don't know, I'm not so sure he's actually going to use all of that for the, I can't control any of that stuff. But if you ask for the funds on HomeFundIt, people are much more confident about donating to your down payment because it is a thing for a down payment. HomeFundIt is a down payment gifting platform. So people raise more funds using HomeFundIt because it's a thing, it's a platform, it's an official place where people can donate versus sending someone a check or a cashier's check or cash. So lots of good reasons about the platform. Once people start engaging with it, really good things happen. And again, but the most important thing I can tell you all is start these campaigns early. Do not jam your buyer at the end, or you will end up with just the same thing you had offline, only moving it online. What you want to do is start these campaigns as early as you can. And the best feedback I get from loan officers is, wow, I got to start early, and they lined up 4, 5, 6 donors, and all those people went out and talked about this program, and I got more business later. And that's the funnest thing to hear from people. So please start these campaigns early. #1 thing I can tell you. And we're not used to that in this business. We're used to just, grinding through a transaction. But this is a hunting tool. So go out and hunt with it, and you will find some interesting things start to happen. That's why we share this information with you. Okay. I don't see any new questions, please email me. If you have some more down the line, I'll let you guys go and get your Friday wrapped up. Thank you so much for being with us today. It was great to be able to share HomeFundIt with you. I hope you can do something with it. I know you can. And you know, along the way, I'm here to help with that. So please reach out to me. Oh, let's see. No, I think I got all the questions. I thought I saw one coming in, but I guess not. Again, if I did miss anything, please reach out to me. Again, make it a great and safe weekend, and we will see you out there on the HomeFundIt trail in the days and weeks ahead, folks. Thanks again. Bye, everybody.